Hi, hello, namaste, welcome back. This is me, Praveen Mallikarjun, and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. And throughout this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the metrics. The way how the whole society is trying to measure your success and the failure, or decide you as a success or you as a failure, and the way how they decide, and what are the measures, what are the metrics that people try to decide you, and how the whole society is trying to fool you in terms of the measurements. And yeah, let's try to begin this video. You see, when we are born, the way how society thinks is, if you are a boy, then it's still there. We don't talk in front of people, but it's still there. If you're a boy, then you are termed and your parents are being mentioned as a success. And if you have a girl child, or if you're a girl, then you'll be mentioned as a failure, and your parents will be mentioned as a failure. We don't talk too much in the public, but it's still there in some villages or in some kind of cities. It's still there, and that kind of mindset is still there. This is when we are born, and this is kind of success and failure. And then we do have this success and the failure when you're between like 1 year, means since you're born till 1 year, you have this. If you're just able to crawl, then you'll be termed as a failure. And if you are able to walk, like a proper walk, then you'll be termed as a success. So this is how the whole society thinks. And the society thinks like, if you are just crawling, then the whole life you'll not be able to walk. And this is kind of mindset. And if you are trying to, you can talk some few words like your parents, amma, appa, then you are termed as a success. And if you can't speak, then you'll be termed as a failure. This is kind of success and failure ratios. And then let's get back to the 1 to 5 years. These 5 years are the time when you learn many things. Your mother tongue, you learn very quickly, even though you don't know how to write it, but you still learn many words, and you learn every basic things, your culture and everything you learn between these years. And between these years, if you know your mother tongue, then you'll be termed as a successful, and if you don't know, then you'll be termed as a failure. This is kind of reality. And the way how people think about English language, between these years, if you know the basic things, if you can write A, B, C, D and the numbers, then you'll be termed as a success. And if you don't know them, you'll be termed as a failure. And this is kind of uniqueness. And the third thing is active. If you're very active when you're a kid, like you're just going to any function, you're just playing like crazy, you don't care for anyone, you're just trying to ask many questions, then you'll be termed as a success. And if you're like dull and you're not able to talk and you're just like a bored kid, then you'll be termed as a failure. And now from 3 to 5 years, these 2 years are very important. In these 2 years, if you know how to dance, like small little dance, then you'll be termed as a success. And if you don't know, then you'll be termed as a failure. And if you know English, some basic things and some words or some letters, then you'll be termed as a success. And if you know the basic grammar of English, if you know some music or some Sangeeta, some songs, then you'll be termed as a success. If you don't know, then you'll be termed as a failure. This is the reality. Now let's get back to the 1st to 10th standard, yani these 10 years of your career, the basic education from Indian education system. In this period, the way how people decide whether a kid is success or a failure is how it depends on the marks. So marks is the only benchmark how people decide whether you're a success or a failure. And the one thing is the marks, and the second is the good at studies. Like if you can remember something, if you can memorize everything, whether it's science facts or the numbers, the mathematical formulas, if you are able to memorize them, then you'll be termed as a success. Otherwise, you'll be termed as a failure. And at the end of the day, marks is the only way how people measure. And the other thing is the GK, yani the general knowledge. And if you know some of the basic things about the politics, the prime minister and the chief minister or other ministries, and other things about the science facts, the science definitions, if you know all this about the general knowledge, then you'll be termed as a success. If you memorize them, then you'll be termed as a success, and if you don't, then you'll be termed as a failure. This is kind of the mindset. Like 15 to 16 years back, when I was in my class 4th, I think like 9 years old. That time I had crazy experience with one of my, I don't say he's my teacher, but he was a teacher. He's my far relative, and he was a teacher. He was like at his 40 or 50s age. He was a teacher, very good person, but the kind of mindset he had was completely different. So we had this home inauguration ceremony, Gruha Pravesham. We went to some village, and he was among the person who was there. He just called everyone. We were like 5 to 6 cousins. We were like 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. We were like different cousins, and he called everyone, and we were sitting around like a round table conference. And when we were sitting, he just started asking some general questions, and the mathematics, the science, and some political questions. Like at that age, he started asking questions, like one person, if he doesn't answer, the next one, and he just had these questions. Everyone got like 4 to 5 questions, and later, after everything was done, he didn't tell us the result, but I heard from someone, and he told my father that like, देखो आपके बेटे है ना, he doesn't know few general questions, वो अच्छे से पढ़ नहीं पाता है, so he is quite poor in his studies. So this is how someone who is a very far relative, he doesn't know my mindset, he doesn't know my problems and my learning skills, and someone with just putting some 5 different questions, and he will decide whether some kid is success or a failure. And this was some different experience I had. And let's come back to the 10th board exams. So this is some kind of a turning point in everyone's life, and the board marks that 1 year is very important, and people will tell you, okay, पढ़ो बच्चों, ये 10th पास कर लो, आपकी लाइफ जिंदगी सेट है, तो it's a turning point, and the board marks will be termed as a success. If you get like more than 95%, more than 100%, so आजकल तो यार सब 100% ले रहा है. This is kind of success. If you get more marks, then you'll be termed as a success. If you get less marks, nowadays, if you get below 90%, you are termed as a failure. This is a practical thing, because more than like 15% of students are getting 100% or above 98%, and now if you get below 90%, you'll be termed as a failure. And this is the fact. This happens in your class 10. Now, after completing your class 10, now you'll be into the plus 2, plus 12, 11, and plus 12. And these 2 years will be something different, where your success and failure metrics, yani the measurement, how people will measure, that will definitely change in these 2 years. So here, the branch one. If you're in arts, then you'll be termed as you'll be left behind. You know, if you're in arts, you'll be termed as a failure for your whole life. If you take arts, then you'll be termed as and he doesn't know how to read, he might be getting less marks in his 10th, so he choose some arts. And commerce one, if he has got some like 70% or 80% marks, then only people will get into commerce one. So this is kind of a mindset. And if someone is in science, then people will think, and this person will become successful. If he is in science, it's completely success. But if he is in arts, this will be termed as a failure. Just see how in your education from 0 years to like 15 years, the way how people decide your success and failure, the way how the success metrics is changing in these periods, it's completely changing. And the different college, if you are into government college, if you are into some small college where the education is not good, then you'll be termed as a failure. If you are into some boarding school or boarding college where you have a best education, then you'll be termed as a success. And very soon after you get the 12th results, so here the marks is the absolute thing where you have your success. If you get very good grades, if you get 95%, then you're a success. Otherwise, you'll be termed as a failure. And the ranking system nowadays, the NEET exam and all the entrance exams, if you get very good rank, then you're termed as success. Otherwise, you're termed as a failure. And the next thing is a college admissions, whether it's IIT or NITs or some top level engineering colleges, then you will be termed as a success. But if you get a low level college where the college is very at a very bottom level or some far away from the main city, then you'll be termed as a failure. That's kind of a mindset. And this is one thing when after you just pass your 12th exams. Now, if you get into engineering, you'll be termed as a success. Or if you are into some commerce or into arts background, you'll be termed as a failure initially. So in engineering, if you get a good branch, then you'll be termed as a success. The good branch is like a ECE or EEE, ISCS, because the software is the future. And if you're into software one, then you'll be termed as a success because people will hire you. You'll be getting very good opportunity to be in a best companies. You'll be termed as a success. And if you are in a mechanical one or a civil one, you'll be termed as a failure. This is a practical thing where people will definitely not get more opportunity into software field if you are into mechanical or civil. This is how people think. And just after completing your engineering, 4 years of engineering, now after completing, if you have a job, then you'll be termed as a success. Like without having a job, you'll be termed as a lifelong failure. I have seen the whole society thinking about a student or someone who doesn't get a job, and the way how people think is the whole lifelong he'll be a failure and he will never get a job and he will never be successful. This is kind of a measurement, just see how the metrics, the way how people measure, this is changing year after year. Now let's come to your 20s. In your 20s, 20 to 30 is a very critical age, and here people will decide whether you have a job, you're successful. If you don't have a job, you are a failure. And what's your package? If you are into any job, package will decide you success and a failure. This is how comparison works. This is how people will decide your success compared to someone who has more marks, who has more money than you. So this is one thing where people will measure your success, the package one. So this is how people measure. And which company? If you are into a product-based company, if you are into a top-level company, then you'll be termed as a success. Otherwise, you'll be termed as a failure. This is the practical thing. And now let's get to the life of 30s. This is the age where you're completely settled, you have family and everything. Now people will change their metrics. People will change their way how they measure the success. One is the bike. If you have a bike, then you are a success. If you don't have it, then you are a failure. If you have a car, then you will be termed as a success. And even though people don't see whether it's a top-end model or some second-hand car, you need to have a car. You need to have a four-wheeler, whether it's an EMI or you just bought it with one down payment. Nobody will ask you anything. You just have to have a car. This will be termed as a success. And if you have a foreign trip, if you've gone to US, if you have gone to some other country, you will be termed as a success. Otherwise, you will be termed as a failure. If you are married, then you are a success. If you are not married, even after 30, you will be termed as a failure. And we had this success and failure kind of thing in my family. Like around 30 years back in my family, my father bought a small TV, like a BPL company TV, which was like a Doom one, which is an old one. I can say it's an old one, but in 1992, in that period, this TV was a top-end model. It was a new model, and in my village, this was the second TV. My family just bought the second TV in a whole village. We just had two TVs, and it was kind of a success. People used to tell, "अरे ये तो अमीर हो गया, अभी इनके पास TV है," and this was kind of mindset people used to tell. If you have a TV, then you're termed as a success in that period. But right now in 2023, after 30 years, having that kind of TV is termed as a failure. Just see how just after 30 years, the metrics just changed, where 1992 having that kind of Doom TV was termed as a success, but right now it is termed as a failure, because nowadays we have a flat TV. If you have a flat TV, you are termed as a success. These are kind of materialistic success. If you have these materials, then you are termed as a success. Otherwise, you will be termed as a failure. Next is a washing machine. If you have it, then you are a success. And a fridge one, and a very good nice car, and an iPhone. If you have the recent iPhone, whether it's a 14 one, then you are termed as a success. But if you have an iPhone X, which was like 4 years back, it was a new model. If you have iPhone X, you will be termed as a failure, because there is a new mobile, iPhone 14. If you have it, then you will be termed as a success. And an AC one. If you have an AC, then you'll be success. And the branded clothes, you are success. Now let's go to the 40s. life in your 40s is something unique where you will be termed to success and a failure depending on your kids. If you have 1 lakh per year of salary, more than that, then you are successful, otherwise you are a failure. And if you have your own home, or if you have your own flat, then you are termed as a success, otherwise a failure. Foreign trips, have taken some 2 different foreign trips, you are a success, otherwise a failure. And if your kids are going to a school which is like 10,000 per month, it's a kind of school where you have more than 1 lakh fees. They are kind of private schools. If your kids are into those schools, then you are termed as a success. And next is bought a few sites in the land. If you have 30-40 site, or if you have your own site, then you are termed as a success, otherwise you are termed as a failure. And the purchasing gold, if you have some good amount of gold, then you are successful, otherwise you are failure. Let's get to your 60s, where these are the period where we are retired, we do have some health issues, and people will decide your success and failure in terms of the health issues, where if you have no BP and if you don't have any sugar problems, then you are termed as a successful. And if you have some BP and if you have those health issues, then you are termed as a failure. So this is the initial thing which starts just after your 60s. And the overall health is good, you are completely physically healthy, then you are termed as a good and a healthy person and a successful, otherwise you are failure. And then retired financially. If you are retired just after 60, if you are able to get your all finances done, if you are retired financially, then you are a success. But if you are not retired financially, even though you are retired, you are not able to afford some of the basic things, then you will be termed as a failure after 60. This is how people will decide. Just look at how the metrics is changing year after year, decades after decade. Now let's go forward to 80s. So this is the time where people will decide your success. If you are alive, then people will decide your success, you are a success. But if people are dead, then people will decide he's a failure, that even though he was at 80, he was not able to live till 100. This is how people think. And if you are able to walk properly, if you are able to hear it, and if you are able to see everything, eyes, ears, and everything is good, then you'll be termed as a success. If it's not good, then you'll be termed as a failure. See, these are kind of metrics, these are kind of crazy thing where the whole society is trying to put some benchmarks, who are trying to decide your success or failure just by looking at something where every year, every decade, the metrics keep changing. And so because of that, I'm telling you that don't even try to focus on people, just focus on yourself. There are no benchmarks, there are no milestones where at this age you have to get this, at this age you have to get this, where you need to complete your education, just over that you get a job, and then you get married, then your whole life you work, and then you retire, and just after retirement you do something different and just complete your life. This is how the whole milestone that people try to put on you. So just please don't try to get into this trap and just do whatever you want. There are no milestones. Maybe it doesn't happen this year, it might happen next year or 2 years later. And this is kind of a milestone people try to put you in. And these are some crazy things in life there. And just live your life. And these are some of the few things that I just wanted to share with you. Throughout this channel, I keep making some personal development videos where I've been failing for the past 3 years, and right now I'm starting a new context on the personal development, which I really feel that it's quite important for you guys, like the next generation. And so guys, this is it for today, and thank you for watching this video. And if you have any experience where people try to put you a success and a failure mark, then do share that story with me. And thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next video. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye.